Beginning, the age of peace and pairing. The galaxy had finally found peace. After centuries of interstellar wars, after the Scar Dominion fell, after the human coalition disarmed its fleets, the stars themselves seemed quieter. The Galactic Concord had been formed, uniting over 200 civilizations under a single promise: never again shall war decide who we are. And to seal this peace, the Concord initiated what they called the Unity Pairing Program. Every race would exchange delegates, workers, and even citizens in a cultural bond stronger than treaties. It wasn't arranged marriage, at least not in name. It was mutual coexistence. Every species would pair with another, chosen by compatibility algorithms, cultural balance, and, as the Concord loved to boast, emotional potential. I wasn't special. Just a technician. A human engineer stationed aboard Haven 9, an orbital city floating above the neutral planet of Murris. My job was simple: maintain hydrosystems, repair habitat modules, and avoid politics. The pairing announcements were made publicly. Everyone crowded around the plaza screens that day. I watched as names scrolled in glittering light. Human, Zilari. Human, Velkarian. Human, Meridian. The crowd cheered as matches were made, species learning to blend cultures. Then the screen froze. The voice of the Concord AI echoed across the plaza. Final pairing. Human, Elias Varren. Matched with Sovereign Queen Lirathra of the Kynari Empire. The plaza fell silent. The air thickened. Even the translator drones hesitated before repeating it. The Kynari Empire. The same species that had once conquered 12 systems with biological warships. Their queen, Lirathra, was a living weapon. She was the one who had once been called the Black Empress of the Stars. And now she was my match. I laughed at first. A malfunction, obviously. But the AI repeated, calm and cold. Match confirmed. Relocation authorized. Audience scheduled within one cycle. That's when the guards came for me. Middle, the Queen of War and the human engineer. The journey to the Kynari homeworld was unlike anything I'd ever experienced. Their vessels didn't glide through hyperspace, they pierced it. The hull hummed with an energy that felt alive, organic, almost like the ship itself was breathing. When I first saw the planet, Kynar Prime, I understood why they had been feared. The atmosphere shimmered with golden storms. The oceans glowed with bioluminescent life. And their cities rose like black crystal spires, elegant, deadly, perfect. I was escorted to the throne chamber of the Empress Lirathra. She sat upon a throne grown from living stone. Her body was humanoid, but her skin shimmered between obsidian and violet, like liquid metal. Her eyes glowed faintly, deep silver with rings of fire. Her voice, when it came, was calm but filled with the weight of command. Human. You are the one the Concord's algorithm chose for me. Her tone made it sound like an insult. I bowed awkwardly. Elias Varren. Technician, 3rd class. I fix things. A faint smirk touched her lips. You'll find much to fix here, human. For the next few weeks, I wasn't treated as a consort, more like a curiosity. I was given a chamber, monitored by guards, and summoned occasionally for conversation. Her court whispered about me, the first human to walk freely in her palace. They called me the experiment. Some feared me. Others pitied me. But what surprised me most was the queen herself. Beneath her reputation, she seemed tired. One evening, as I worked on repairing a damaged console in her observatory, she spoke without looking at me. Do you know why the Concord insisted I take part in their pairing? I hesitated. To prove even the most dangerous species could embrace peace. Her lips curved in a humorless smile. Peace, yes. They fear me, human. Even now, they cloak their fear as diplomacy. She turned to face me then, eyes burning softly. "Tell me, Elias, what do you fear?" I swallowed. "Losing what makes us human." Something flickered in her expression, curiosity, maybe even understanding. After that, she began calling for me more often. She asked about Earth, about our art, our wars, our mistakes. She listened when I spoke, not like a ruler indulging a servant, but like someone searching for something she'd lost long ago. One night, she asked me to walk with her through the palace gardens. They weren't gardens, not really, more like glowing jungles under artificial moons. She stopped before a vast tree pulsing with silver veins. "This is the heartroot," she said softly. "It feeds our world. When I was crowned, I was bound to it, my life to my planets. If I die, Kynar Prime dies with me." I looked at her, the queen feared by all, and for the first time, saw a woman burdened by the weight of eternity. "You're chained," I whispered. Her eyes met mine. "Yes. And now the concord binds me further to a human." She turned to leave, but I spoke before I could stop myself. "Maybe that's not a chain. Maybe it's a key." She paused. For a heartbeat, she almost smiled. The turning point, the assassins and the choice. Weeks passed. Rumors spread of unrest within the Kynari ranks, generals who despised the idea of their queen pairing with a human. One night, the alarms shattered the calm. Explosions tore through the palace corridors. The lights dimmed to red. I was dragged from my quarters by a guard, but halfway through the hall, a shadow moved fast, silent, and the guard fell, throat sliced open by a crystalline blade. A figure stepped from the smoke, a Kynari soldier, his armor marked with old war emblems. "The queen dies tonight," he hissed. "And so does her human pet." He lunged. I dove, grabbed the guard's fallen weapon, a pulse dagger, and fired instinctively. Blue light flashed. The assassin dropped. But there were more. The corridors echoed with battle cries. I ran toward the throne room. If they wanted her dead, that's where they'd be. When I reached it, the doors were blasted open. Inside, chaos. Her guards lay dead or dying. The queen stood at the center, a storm of motion, blades of light spinning from her hands, her armor cracked and burning. She fought like a god of war. Then I saw one of the assassins raise a weapon, an energy lance aimed at her back. Without thinking, I ran forward. I tackled her aside as the lance fired. Pain seared across my shoulder, white, blinding agony. When my vision cleared, I was on the floor. The queen knelt over me, her face inches from mine. Her hands glowed as she pressed them to my wound. Energy flowed from her, silver and warm, knitting flesh. Her voice trembled. "Why would you do that, human?" I managed a weak smile. Guess the algorithm was right. Her laughter, soft, real, echoed through the burning chamber. When the last assassin fell, she stood slowly, looking down at me. "You saved me," she said. "No one has ever done that." I coughed, half delirious. Maybe they were too scared to try. Her gaze softened, and for the first time, she reached out and touched my cheek. "Perhaps the galaxy's most dangerous queen," she whispered, "has finally met her match. Ending the bond of war and peace." The days that followed changed everything. The assassination attempt exposed the truth. A faction of Kynari warlords had sought to overthrow her, claiming she'd grown weak through peace. But her survival, and the fact that a human had saved her, turned the tide. The people began to see the pairing not as an insult, but as proof that even their queen could bridge the impossible divide.